Before Mickey Mouse, Disneyland, and a multi-billion-dollar legacy, there was just a young man with a sketchbook, a wild imagination, and a trail of failures behind him. This is Always Fail Forward, where we share stories of people who turned rejection into resilience. Today, we're talking about Walt Disney, the man who was told he had no imagination, yet went on to build a world of it. Walt Disney's story begins in Chicago in 1901. He grew up in a strict household, working long hours on his father's paper route before and after school. Even as a child, he found comfort in drawing, in creating something out of nothing. But back then, no one imagined art could become a career. In his early 20s, Walt launched his first company, Laugh-O-Gram Studios. It was his big break, or so he thought. He poured his heart into making short cartoons and even employed a small team. But Walt was a dreamer, not a businessman. He focused more on creativity than contracts, and by 1923, the studio went bankrupt. He couldn't even afford food, surviving on beans and sleeping in his office. Most people would have quit right there. But Walt didn't see failure as an ending. He saw it as a lesson. He sold his camera, took a one-way train ticket to Hollywood, and promised himself he'd start again. In Hollywood, Walt teamed up with his brother Roy, forming Disney Brothers Studio. Things looked hopeful. He created a character called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, which became a hit. But just when success seemed certain, the unthinkable happened. His distributor, Universal, stole the rights to Oswald and even took most of Walt's animators with them. It was a devastating betrayal. Overnight, Walt lost his character, his team, and nearly his dream. But on a train ride back to California, frustrated but inspired, he sketched a new idea. A cheerful little mouse with round ears and a big smile. His name was Mickey. Walt introduced Mickey Mouse in 1928 with Steamboat Willie, one of the first cartoons to feature synchronized sound. Audiences were blown away. Suddenly, Disney wasn't just an animator. He was a pioneer. Mickey became a global icon, and Walt's dream began to take shape. But with each success came new challenges. When Walt decided to make Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, people called it Disney's folly. Critics said no one would sit through a feature-length cartoon. Studios laughed. Even his wife thought it was too risky. Walt ignored the doubt. He believed in his vision. And when Snow White premiered, it became a worldwide sensation, earning millions during the Great Depression and proving the power of believing in your imagination.
I'm awfully sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you. But you don't know what I've been through. And all because I was afraid. I'm so ashamed of the fuss I've made. What do you do when things go wrong? Oh, you sing a song.
But even legends hit breaking points. After Snow White, the pressure to top himself grew unbearable. During World War II, the studio faced strikes, money problems, and creative burnout. Walt fell into depression. For a time, he lost the joy that had fueled him from the start. One day, while watching his daughters on a carousel, Walt had an idea, a place where parents and children could have fun together. That simple vision became Disneyland. But again, people doubted him. Banks refused to fund it. Friends told him it was impossible. So Walt mortgaged his own house to bring it to life. When Disneyland finally opened in 1955, the first day was chaotic. Broken rides, fake tickets, and long lines. Reporters called it a disaster. But within weeks, it became one of the most beloved places in the world.
From a helicopter show the huge 60-acre playland. The park is the brainchild of Walt Disney and includes such creations as a Mississippi River showboat, a horse-drawn trolley, and Snow White's castle. 30,000 persons streamed through the park at this initial opening, and one had all he could do in some instances to keep from being crushed. But visitors, some of them familiar to many, like Eddie Fisher, accepted the inconvenience.
Walt Disney once said, "All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them." He built his empire not on perfection, but on persistence. From bankruptcy to betrayal to heartbreak, he failed his way forward and taught the world that imagination can rebuild anything. Today, Disney's legacy lives in every child who dares to dream, every artist who takes a risk, and every person who believes that failure is just the beginning. This was the story of Walt Disney, the dreamer who refused to give up. If his journey inspired you, remember that every failure is a stepping stone towards something greater. Subscribe to Always Fail Forward for more stories of the world's most successful people and how they turned their setbacks into their legacy.